Greetings on a hostage Sunday, Sunday, sale, deal of the century, Waterboy. So, Mr. Deeds donating the volunteer the scholarship fund by inability, paralyzed from active duty because relegated as a token magic to enhance the valuation of the product to get the max profit at the low bid cost. All sorts of strange. It really is just poor judgment. There's an inherent hate on so many levels that everybody must prove that they hate by using the ideology with poor logic rather than fixing the system because of fear of the unknown. But they went overboard. There was a window. There was this A&M window balance. It has shifted way. It's gone to totalitarian, Terminator machine rules, and it's not. They're now fighting to keep it. You had the choice: A, Rise of the Kings, Lord of the Rings, or M, Rise of the Terminator machines. So right now, you've got the Terminator machines that have kidnapped the A. And so you got M&M Mars, Sugar World, Drown, Anarchy. And yeah, it really is. It's very, very sweet. All based upon several different keys, most notably. Yeah, it's the Sugar Wars, honestly. There can only be a certain amount of sweet in the world. Well, then you got the validation. It's like if you think about it like a math formula. So you've got let's say a certain individual who has gradually risen through the ranks of the system matters this much. And you've got millions of these individuals that have risen up, upgraded to these certain ranks. Then they ingest products. Then the amplified value of the risen ranks, amplified value, then therefore programs the system to be validated, to validate the rank existences, regardless the reality of the rank. That's the problem. That's where I'm necessity. The upgraded ranks, the magic that I dispute because my estate is the negligence of my mission. The Napoleon Dynamite dud by the Armageddon Patriot boys who decided they don't want that type of competition. They don't like that type of competition. They would rather have no competition. So, even though they worship the competitive system, that's the strange oxymoron duality of it. So to sabotage the Armageddon, Napoleon Dynamite Armageddon hijackers, as that's where you get into, I think, the covalent bonds of the full all for one for all musketeers and the covalent twin ones being the 414. Then therefore you get into the Brew Crews, you get into the Johnson Controls, you get into the South by Southwest. So you got replacements that are seizing control of this Armageddon based upon being patriotism for something. See, in the first place, there was something called that I wrote about years and years ago, the genetic trigger mechanisms, because of horrific mismanagement. They wanted to validate worshiping this genetic modified body snatcher organ theft. And so they would torture me and different people. It's like, and I'm like a big gun. So by torturing me, it pulls a trigger, creates a reaction because I'm a bank officer. And so those with shares in my bank, global bank, must protest or start. It's an alarm. A reaction is an alarm saying, hey, you're discrediting the value of a bank. It would be like going into a major bank and kidnapping one of its top executives, torturing that top executive, and then replacing him with a bunch of frauds, and then that fraud would be issuing fake credit cards to dilute the overall value of the bank. That's what they're doing to me. But who gives a fuck? It's a global bank. The Patriots do not care because they are independently proud because of all the bourbon that they ingest. They're addicted to bourbon pride. That, I mean, if you look at all the individual pride, that is a serious, serious bourbon addiction, amplified, and they don't even pay for it. Corn mash, there you go. Once again, getting into the, it ties into corn being magic, maize. That's why Detroit is bankrupt, I guess, huh? Lions and tigers and bear poachers, oh my! So yeah, you've got the corn. You can either make corn syrup, sweetener, that's the sugar wars, or you can make bourbon, so it's corn mash. And so a lot of you, that's a variation on the corn, children of the corn. And so, therefore, the pride of the individual does not care about my mission or my plight, so I am then relegated, expendable, even though my mission deals with trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. This is a daredevil gamble. It's a terrible gamble, but the opportunists see this as an opportunity. Yeah, they see this as an angle to exploit, to get a. They're fighting over percentages of control. See, if they do not want the competition. You've got the A and the M competition turned into the M and M Mars, sugar wars. Or you've got the A and the M reversed, M and A, and you've got the M flipped upside down for a W and wand V. So you've got the wand. There's all these variations on A and M. A and M being a balance of math, as far as you've got a balance between the land and the machine. But they want the machines are making a run. They're charging heavy at vital key times because of the dawning of the technological age. They think it gives them the right to strip mine and decimate the land. Well, the land's screwed up in the first place by not preparing, unprepared, because of the domestic concerns, regardless of the demographic dangers and the examples being inflicted. They thought they would get. It really is. It was a war over percentages of control, which is a terrible, terrible gamble. And I was blind to this fact for many, many years because I was beaten so badly. My self-esteem was so low that I could not even fathom of having this much control because I was beaten so badly, hammered into the ground to brainwash. That's how brainwashing works. But I taught myself, and I started, when I put all the pieces together, it's like, that's just reality. This isn't, the patterns are real. There's a reality to the patterns. And so I took it upon myself, like the sword and the stone, Excalibur, to act on the, and I'm not, that's another thing. They're using Jesus monotheism as a weapon to kill the saints. That's another problem. There is no one else that has risen up. No saints. There should be a team of saints. That's why the saints are there. Instead, they're using the saints as a method to elevate the power of the revolutionaries as far as being the lead. So yeah, there are no saints have risen up. So you've got the machines that are rising up. And I think eventually you're going to see it's a high tide right now. But it's gone way overboard. And it is dangerous time. And not to mention, the cleanup of this is going to be horrific. I mean, it really is like the BP Deepwater Horizon spill, which was used to gag Louisiana. That's how terrible, that's your Omega logic once again. It's how terrible the infallibility is because of the Katrina and then the bad luck, lightning striking twice mentality of the oil spill as a infallibility for doing nothing. but there are no good Samaritans because of the individual bourbon swilling domestic concerns, regardless of the legality and the long-term ramifications to the whole system. The system is delusional. Those are the figureheads of the system are delusional to the fact that they must act within the system itself rather than seeing the big picture concerns, which I have more of a big picture concern because the estate that I'm representing as an officer is a global estate which operates under many different factions. So, because of this, they are trying to elevate the machinery of the global estate in order to handicap me based upon some strange logic that there needs to be a handicapping, which is crazy in itself and empathetic to the plight. Why it does not really matter. If they had to argue the empathy, I want you to prove the validity of the empathy is not justifiable at all. There is no way. That's like handicapping, well, to a degree, I guess it is the law. But then again, the predatory concerns of the law is because of it's only going to get worse. And this is because this was dragged out so long that the law has gotten to this state of prowess. So then, therefore, the law being the teeth of the machinery, because there is no balance. And I specifically blame Louisiana because they partied rather than prepare. And it's a grasshopper and the ant sort of scenario. So they partied instead of preparing because I don't know exactly. They needed to steer. I had it right. I had it exactly right. But if they would have followed, that they decided they did not want, they wanted to destroy my family. This is where it gets into destroying my family and the necessity of captivity. So my plan for a 1999 Renaissance, Louisiana Renaissance, would have been perfect. But instead, they did not want me to. I was not allowed to play so they had to breed my family, I guess. And so if we would have woken up then, they would not have bred. My family might have dispersed globally, and they would have lost control. We might have escaped. So they had to sabotage, which should have been that. So by sabotaging my Renaissance 1999 plan to breed my family, to save them to a degree, but it cost way too much. They cannot justify this. That's why we're on this path of destruction. And I'm trying to correct the problem. Oh, yeah, but so my plan for Louisiana Renaissance and elevating at the same time would have been perfect timing for the dawn of the technological age. But we were hijacked. That was the Armageddon. It was hijacked and sabotaged. And so then, therefore, we were buried deep in order to keep us Don King, only in America. Because they wanted to, I guess they were concerned about protecting the sacred individualism, but they lost control. And obviously, the wealthy are not smart enough to manage. Because they allow, I am the greatest weapon of the public. I am used as a weapon, an anarchy revolution weapon, because I am allowed, the public is controlling, which is terrible, terrible logic. The wealthy are trying to they're worried about percentages and upgrading their rank suites because of individual envy, pride, and so they are betting their future. They are betting that there will not be a revolution to redistribute wealth because they think they can produce enough. So what their plan is their risk management for protecting the future is tons and tons and tons of wealth as insulation padding while you're at the bull market run. So once again, I had the chance to escape, but instead, because of the 2007 economic Great Recession, and the public once again kidnap me, and because I have to pay. They get scared and spooked by any little change in the system, and so therefore they have to beat me because to prove they're worthy of the stolen wallet, the Louis Vuitton stolen wallet, hijacked factory Armageddon. So once again, they had this massive boom. That's where I'm producing tons of golden parachutes. I'm producing tons of golden wealth. So if the system implodes, those with the ability will scatter all over the world with their individual golden parachutes and their individual wealth. So that's why they're fighting this. That's why the poor think they have the right. They think they are worthy of this because they're the alpha poor of the world, I guess. That's their mentality. So that's why I am kidnapped by the system. I'm kidnapped by the law, kidnapped by the public in order to protect them, but justify this. My estate is just one part of the United States, whereas vastly global, the estate I represent, and all the power that is derived through me comes from this vast global estate that they are destroying by poisoning this M&M Mars invasion attacks, the sweet sugar bowl wars, the Bourbon Pride. This is some really heavy duty bourbon. I mean, we're talking about it's not really bourbon. It's really a lot stronger than bourbon. This is some heavy duty doping, is what it is. They're trying to claim it as bourbon so the individual pride, but this is super amplified bourbon, to be honest with you, because it is destroying huge chunks of the world, which is going to have a massive hangover. I mean, literally could kill their kids. They're drinking in such quantity or the percentage. So yeah, you've got the individual, these sacred individuals have got to prove themselves. They're such bourbon-swilling dope fiends that they've got the bare arms to prove themselves the Home Depot sacred individuals, while the system must get fatter and fatter as defense rather than correction. The wealthy have lost their minds. They've lost control of their faculties. That's partially because the universities have turned strictly towards this anarchy. Universities have gone really far to the left, and then there's no balance at all. The A&M is a joke. It's the LSU or the Texas M&M Mars Sweet Bowl Sugar Bowl Factory, and it is. And if you look at the gambler compensation, and if you that is where it goes into. So yeah. Oh, you got the bare arm, individual bare arm. They're trying to prove themselves or something, but it's every man a king, these elevated ranks, but they will not allow me to manage my estate, which is a huge gamble because it is poisoning the rest of the world to revolution, which threatens the future existences of it. Probably, if it continues at this, we'll see. What happened was I got hacked, but then I got hacked, genetically hacked, handicapped to this, but then they stole my wallet and threw me out, took my keys and locked me out to fight in the dungeon. Some of these were crazy, criminal, insane, stupid, retarded brothers, as you would. Steal my wallet. So then the public figures out ways to use me as a revolutionary weapon to hunt them. But they're like the three little pigs, ha ha ha, figuring that Europe's going to pay and Latin America's going to buy them some time while they build these golden parachutes and initiate more of these sacred country club brothers scalping Reese Jones and Magic Eye, which is stupid. I mean, just beyond stupid gambling. So yeah, they steal my wallet and lock me out as a donation bribe to the poor to haze me, which is one of the dumbest flaws in the history of the world. shows that they are not. That's where you get into the Paul Blart Rent-A-Car. They're not real law. That's why there's the killing James Bond thing right now. License, yeah, they are. It's literally cash is king because of this golden parachute lifeboat factory, sacred individual. So rather than, they figured that they just went way over. They should have ended it in 1999. Then they should have ended it in 2007. Then they should have ended it in 2012. But they keep on chugging and chugging and chugging and will not let me in to correct the problem and shut off the flow of anarchy revolution energy. And the public just keeps hacking and hacking and hacking and trying to validate their swell scam. So yes, the Napoleon Dynamite dud syndrome, and it's truly criminal. The South has lost all their legal credibility. They have totally sold their soul because they think they can take over the world with this because they're going to instigate anarchy revolution globally. Then they think they're going to hunt. So you basically got, this is what the South, and everybody knows that's why the South is about to get massacred, in my estimation, if they correct. But then again, you've got a standoff right now. They needed to correct. It's that window of opportunity. So the South wants to kill it's the Wizard of Oz. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. They want to poach all the big game. Get rid of all of it. It's the joke of the GOP. It's really just the Elks Lodge GOP animal farm. Sacred individual livestock. So they want to kill all the big game. They want to kill all the super wealthy of the world. And as technology grows and the revolutions expand globally, there are going to be it's going to be that the bird with no feet, martlets or whatever they were called. They're going to be birds with no feet that have. It's like in Contact. When they had that guy who had to live on the space station, Hadley, who was the super wealthy guy because he had cancer. The cancer being the anarchy revolution. So I am fueling the cancer anarchy revolution. So rather than preparing and protecting Europe as a alternative and building Latin America towards a strong future, they're allowing the machine, the Terminator machine, to evolve this revolutionary anarchy revolution sentiment. And so China loved it. I guarantee this is why Russia invaded Crimea, because they know what reactionary the USA are. It just instigated because the United States has an identity crisis problem. They think they're capitalists, when in actuality they really are not. They're anarchist mercantilists. Buffet, pizza CC's Pizza Buffet, super valued power, free bourbon, huge country club. Put. That sort of mentality. So yeah, and they figure they can. It's just strange. Their only avenue is luxury goods for all, regardless of the cost of that, which then will create a backlash. That's their protectionist. But the problem is they're allowing the blight to. It's just poor logic. You've got to correct it to a degree, or face just cataclysm. Well, the law, first of all, you're going to pay for history. I think that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to see, everybody's going to. It's going to be like that Albert Brooks movie, Defend Your Life. Well, countries are going to pay for their history, and they're going to. That's going to be the redistribution of wealth, the people's revolution. So, and that's where that has to be the United States' only thing. They think Europe is going to, the wealthy aren't going to have anywhere to hide. So the United Kingdom is going to be distributed. All the aristocracy is going to be turned into a bunch of public manor homes and public castles for the weekend warriors. It's got to be. And then, So they're going to have to give away all their wealth to the People's Revolution because of it's going to kind of, and then the South's going to have to give away all its wealth to the slaves, and it's gone. That's the only option. That's where the legal system with so much power, and there's no checks and balances. The Eminem Mars legal system, the gummy bears, killing James Bond, killing Smokey the Bear, sacred cow, every sacred cow, only steak, it's cannibalism, cannery, it's the clubs. You can only, they keep their static energy of the pond, the communal pool well, the cement ponds, as you would, hillbillies, trading places, because they're basically just gambling. They sit at a table, they're sharks, and they eat each other, and the strong reign. It's the only option. So the law is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, which fuel that are the teeth of the Terminator machine, the sacred individuals. And the wealthy are just losing tons of future options, losing tons in order to pad the layers to try to buy a little protection. It's crazy. So the Napoleon Dynamite Syndrome, Louisiana hijacked Armageddon for the Argo Peanut Farmer Hostage Revenge, the beauty shop. The beauty shop is the Armageddon drill. The sacred politicians have made us pay for everything that ever went wrong. No longer is the White House is not about being clean. It is about being blemish-free, proactive, praise Almighty Dukes of Hazzard, Jessica Simpson. It really is. It's blemish-free beauty, vanity. That's all that matters. And I pay for it all. I mean, if you can go back through just about anything, and we pay for it because we have global value there once again. And the mob bribes politicians by torturing us for beauty by desecration in order to, there's levels of scams going on. So yeah, it's the hostage crisis, the Iran, or the failed conversion to the metric system is the Napoleon Dynamite, dud, or that's the Georgia kidnapper. And then that's why the Caldwell Zoo is a Bush bribery, and that's why my family was kidnapped there. So anything that ever goes wrong, they're pulling the trigger and they're looking like the good guys, first of all, and they're sabotaging Louisiana because they do not want the competition of a strong Latin America, which is true capitalism, which they do not want. So then, therefore, Louisiana has to be shrunk Smurfs, crawdads, that sort of mentality. And so, therefore, inability to evolve allows this anarchy revolution to expand globally, which then it's got to correct itself. The Republicans are going to lose. They are destined to lose, but they do not care as long as they get to kill some big game and eat it. Literally, that's what it is. They want to kill some big game and eat it. That's what the Republicans are more. That's why they sold their soul. They want to kill the top. They're going to take off the head, and then so the upper middle. That's you got the Greek solidarity worships the upper middle, rather than offering options or fixing the problem, that sort of thing, opportunity. So you got the strong law will eventually attack the upper middle. But they think if there's so many strength in numbers, that's going to be the big buffalo herds, but they will get killed off like the Indians, or they will get slaughtered like the National Elk Refuge. Eventually, it might take a little bit of time, but they will get slaughtered by the demographics and the tax rates, or there's so many numbers of ways to slaughter these sacred herds. The buffalo stampede, buffalo jump, buffalo smash, or they'll hunt the buffalo into extinction, red buff, cornhuskers, bourbon and sugar, corn syrup. So they figure they can defer it. By deferring it globally, the globe is not stupid. They know what they're doing. But it's this horrific mismanagement, anarchy revolution. It's creating revolution globally, so they are burning bridges globally. So they are strong patriots because of their bourbon addiction, brain damage. Their only option is Canada and Alaska, or civil war, which I predicted was the United States breaks into 5 different currencies. I predicted that in 2008 as a risk management liability issue over horrific mismanagement, which I predicted, which I was right back then. So, then therefore, what are the consequences of the anarchy revolution? I mean, it's obvious. What they're trying to burn the bridges. They want to hunt the wealthy. The lions and tigers and bears poachers is the key. Using the law or the Terminator machine. That is the key. Because they sabotage the rise of the kings. And they turned, that's what the KISS Army turned into worshiping politicians. I mean, that's how crazy it is. They did a good job. The MTV joke is they worship politicians because they lowered the bar, they lowered the standard. Yo, Bum Rush the show! Fear of a Black Planet is gospel. Gospel truth. Chuck D, the Chuck E. Cheese Beauty Shop. Sacred Cows, Chuck D, and Flavor Flav, Spice World. Yeah. So that is literally the Napoleon Dynamite sabotage. So rather than Louisiana growing into a strong entity, balance. See, Texas is in the A and the M. Louisiana would be the A, Texas would be the M, and there are degrees within each other. But dominant is the M and the A. That, in actuality, showing that the maps are not actually, that's the whole spam maps, Minnesota Max Mini lessons that I had to pay for because of Bourbon Pride, Sacred Home Depot, Bear Arms Individual, Chug That Bourbon. So yeah, and then it once again goes into controlled environments. Then again, that's why you've got so many ardent, crazed Jesus freaks that have no logic base is based upon the New Orleans to Utah jazz is scientific. That's scientific future, and it will eventually happen. I guess that's what the wealthy might be thinking. But they're losing too much control. I don't think it'll ever happen, honestly. I think the planet's just going to turn into one big, ugly, trash mess because they gave away too much and they lost too much control. And I think you'll end up seeing horse slaughters, probably, eventually, as revenge. Because, I don't know, because of it's going to be an argument. It's the press that has really fucked everything up, to be honest. The Sigma Delta Chi Sugar Bowl is really screwed things up, spinning it towards the anarchy side of things. So yeah, the politicians were trying to prove themselves at any cost, regardless of logic, because of the blood doping and fallibility. And the followers of the politicians, or those without the options, cannot perceive of change. They can only see things as the status quo. They cannot see change. They can only see things as they are within the system itself because they worship the system because of I think it's public schools and education and electrics and all that. That's the only thing I can think of. This is all speculative, strategic, risk management theory of possibilities of what's gone wrong in this horrific catastrophe. Napoleon Dynamite dud is the key. And it goes back to sacred individuals. That's probably why you got the bear arms. As far as validity, pride, that's bourbon pride, straight up. That is bourbon pride. While the anarchy revolution grows and grows and grows, bigger and bigger, They do not want forests. It's going to be clear cut. It's going to be desert. As probably revenge for UAE sponsoring PSG. I don't know. They're that crazy. They make no sense. That's the herd mentality does not make any sense. And there is no leader of the mob because they're afraid of the Godfather stigma. And there is no king. There is no ruler. There is only figureheads of the machine that have totalitarian power. They M&M bars, sugar bowl, because they got to be sweet. And the teeth, the law is their teeth. So, the po' boy inability to correct the major flaws. That's what happened when I got locked out. I guess the people that hacked me just thought it was like, we're going to tie you into knots. This is that Will Wheaton, Harry Houdini on ABC Sunday night Disney. Michael Eisner introduced. I think that's what they did. These stupid, retarded, bullshit brothers that probably ought to be considered some of the worst people in the history of the world when you look at the trash devastation over their individual party pride. Nutria pride! Boudreaux! Crazy, crazy, crazy. And beyond the individual bourbon, swilling, chugging, freeloader dukes. Insane brain damage. So yeah, they threw me out, but it takes money to fix the problem. There again, I'm proving cash is king. Cash Money Brothers, a Little Wayne credibility that I pay for because he's right. You know, he's right, Master Pete, no limit charge card. But I gotta pay because he is right, because they are infallible bourbon dope heads. Brain damage. Never wrong. So yeah, these stupid fucks just shot me, stabbed me repeatedly like Sonny Corleone, hogtied me, stole my wallet, poisoned me, beat me into a coma, threw me out into the woods as a Harry Houdini joke. So I cannot fix the problems because I have literally, I've been stalked. The public, this goes back to when I got attacked at public school in Texas. So they're stalking me. The public has been stalking me my entire life. The cops are involved. The mob's involved. You got witches and wizards involved. You got all politicians, all sorts. You got gamblers involved. They're all, they benefit from the anarchy revolution. Freedom. Free wallet. It really is. So yeah, I get locked out, and the Hunger Games is keeping me po' boy beauty shop poor. So I cannot correct. I'm literally living on most of my life, $4,000 to $10,000. When I was in a coma, I did not really realize this for a long time, or I did not believe it. I did not believe it's this stupid. It's that childish and stupid. But I guess I should have, and I did not play my cards very well. When I had cash, I tried to get more cash rather than fixing the problems with a little bit. And when I say cash, I mean like $5,000 a ton of money in my life, which is really a joke to most people. When I had $5,000 in savings, that is a ton of money, and I always bleed out. When I get up to a level, I get shot, Duck Dynasty, and I gotta bleed out like a trophy buck to be skinned for family tradition. Bourbon hooch pride. Crazy brain damage. So they have to keep me hooked, so I cannot correct the problem. Never been able to afford to get a tattoo. The tattoo is these kidnapper gods. It's like the Jew tattoos in the day. It's the secret hate crime joke. And this really is a hate crime when you look at it big picture. That's why the media had to be considered guilty. Because this could this could reverse a lot of the gains. It's such a bad hate crime. And they realized it. So they had to, it also goes back, my entire life is to be the ball, beaten from all sides, rebuttal. In order to play the sides, they think that the balance is beating me from every side. Walk the line. Whereas in actuality, it's it's like burning cane when you harvest. They scorched earth, burning cane. That's the whole mentality of it. So they will not allow me to correct this because they want this anarchy revolution to Johnny Rotten Teeth, Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols, Craze, Nympho, that's the Lars von Trier thing. Cat house, it's a cat house, really. Anybody, your only limits are, can you afford that hooker? If you can afford it, you can figure a way to get that. That's the only limitation, which is a dangerous free-range precedent. So, the question is, what exactly is the ramification cost to perpetuation of this freeloader Dukes of Hazzard, bourbon swilling, anarchy revolution, brain damage, craze, fat buffet, CC's Pizza Buffet that you don't pay for, brother? So, I'm not allowed the tools to fix myself to prove the validity of the hacks. Therefore, it's a distribution. And then it also they try to justify it, pretty mean. So the Louisiana sabotage, Louisiana County, perishables, Napoleon Dynamite sabotage Utah Jazz, because there was never the Saints were killed, hijacked, and crashed and used for meat, and that's what. And then they were eaten by cannibals, and then therefore turned against the source of. The Saints are supposed to be like the Texas Rangers, but they were killed because the Beastie Boys licensed the ill. There ain't nobody above the law, boy. You're gonna learn that in the county grid. That's what the Beastie Boys licensed the ill, killing James Bond, JBBJW Pepper. That's why the law. They were trying to they just lost control and kept on and on and on, way overboard. Overboard being filmed in 1987. Still going on. Still riding that surfboard. Thrashing, filmed like 1988. Still riding that free public commune surfboard. Endless summer. Party buffet. Looters and gone wild. And so, yeah, it's crazy. Beyond the comprehension of logic. So, yeah, Napoleon Dynamite sabotage, and there is no balance in the force at all. M&M Mars, Red Planet, red meat, sacred red meat, because the law. That's what the swarm attacks. That's like I said, they're cannibals. They're cannibal clubs of pools. These cannibal clubs of pools compete to form their little pyramid schemes of competition, but they will not allow. They do not pay their bills. They pay each other, and they pay their dues to these like Club Corps, the CC's Pizza Buffet, Club Corps, Reese Jones Scubber. But they do not, because they are sold their soul to the Greek system, that's God's, basically. That's truly what happened. They cannot conceive of this in a global perspective because they're such overt patriots. Because if they cannot be, it's the master's brain damage, killing. The Bourbon Pride Master's brain damage token, Lynch Mob, Lynchburg Lemonade. Even though I had a vital, or not just me, somebody else could do this, even though not many people have the credibility, I couldn't have. So they had to desecrate me by this long, slow, dragging roast to try to make me uncool. There's your Elba Isle Napoleon Dynamite. Uncool, producing a bunch of cool posers. For when you make liquefied natural gas, you make it super cool. That's what I'm doing here. By being uncool, I super cool a bunch of fraud poser natural gas and dance kidnappers. The natural rubber river. So then it produces this residual value experience point matrix Dungeons and Dragons experience points, Wizards of the Coast. Miles, that's your miles travel experience points, Smoker Miles. Marlboro Miles, they want to smoke the Marlboro Man, prove they are tough. That's a real red there. We're talking about crazy. They cannot read, yet they are allowed to drive a multi-trillion-dollar vehicle. These people are brain damaged illiterate from so much bourbon, swelling pride. But they are allowed to drive a trillion-dollar vehicle because it's a joke diversion tactic to the buffet party that's going on in the cat house at Porky's that I pay for. St. Vincent Whorehouse, pride, wind power, free, don't cost nothing. Listen, scholarship fund, super sacred individuals, free, 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 Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. So yeah, jazz hands, bring it on, varsity ranks. So they relegated me, who should be one of the higher ranking people in the world as this officer, at one of the lowest levels in the USA to elevate everybody. That's what they're doing. It's like when Lex Luthor and the Superman that I saw in Jackson Hole with a guy from England who I have to pay for being friends with because he was out of my league. So he threw the big crystal into the ocean and it grew all this land. And it's basically House of Cards. That's what's going on now. And then they got me stabbed with a kryptonite spear. That's the Will Wheaton, Harry Houdini kryptonite spear through the back, alienated Playboy bubble. Champagne. So, back to Bourbon Bride. So they've elevated the entire, they've risen into the Jack and the Beanstalk House of Cards. These sacred individuals. So I am relegated to this low level. But, so all the posers that have stolen my identity do nothing except they're just posing. Look, I stole his wallet. I'm varsity. I'm pro. I'm I'm the A ranks. All these ranks that do nothing. So the estate is massacred by all these elevated valuations. House Parks, Jack and Beanstalk. Golden goose. He's laying that golden egg. That's what they keep on trucking. But they will not allow me. So yeah, these sacred individual brother posers do nothing except allow the party to continue, and they're paying with my wallet because they have more of a right. Because I rank so low. So they get this feed and frenzy buffet on me, and they are addicted. It's good food, ambrosia, as you would, food of the gods for a bunch of nobodies, and they get addicted really fast, and so they fight to the death to keep this free food and free booze and free dope and free hookers and all this stuff, and that's what's going on. So the politicians are their gods because the law is seen, it's the domestic law. So now they've got to mutate the entire world because they are infallible from the blood, dope, and bourbon pride. So the entire world anarchy revolution is burning the bridges. That's why the wealthy are crazy. But they won't do anything because they've got so much coca bush blow in their system they cannot smell anymore. They can't smell true blood. And even though I don't have any cash, I have served a purpose. I have a right to manage this estate, which is vital, a vital estate that I am not allowed to manage in order to. So that's how they are bribing they're paying their dues. I don't know what to see. It's just gonna. It's bizarre that it eventually will get worse and worse and worse. The oppressive, and that's what these. It has to get worse and worse because there is not. We're gonna hit a brick wall soon, and it's just way out of control, and it's gonna get nastier and nastier and nastier yet they want to keep on partying. They think I pay for all the damage, I pay for all the bills, and they get all the goods. And they think they can, it's like the cloudy with a chance of meatballs eventually. Things have got to correct themselves. It's just bizarre. And yet they will not let me elevate my estate because they want the maximum dosage of dope. They want the maximum quality of food. They want the best whores they can get for free to pay them to get fucked and cheer to be fucked. Sushi style, varsity Cheerios, jazz hands, and yeah, it's just bizarre. The M&M Mars Sugar Planet. It's gonna start with chopping off all the feet. It's gonna be Water World drown, and then you're going to have the poachers, lions and tigers and bears are going to be condemned for doing nothing. So the wealthy are going to be persecuted for not correcting the problem, for allowing this to happen. Eventually, if a trial ever happens, so they have to keep putting out. Those whores have to keep producing them luxury goods. That's what it's all about. Keeping them whores producing luxury goods, Louis Vuitton whore house, free. I can't even get a. All I'm trying to do is get a staff to help me manage and control my estate. But I've got to be dependent. They are addicted to me being dependent because that gives away everything. It's a whole reversal of fortune, inverted magnetism, inverted, and until I am wasted enough to be rejected as far as pay, and they're gonna. I think the whole ta-da is going to be the lesson was vanity it's just crazy, just beyond stupid crazy. That's why and that's our only saving grace, even though it would fall apart in a second.